Good morning, kids. It's Pastor Bob. See, Pastor Bob. I hope you're having fun and jumping this year. And this morning we have another great story for you. A long time ago, Jesus was sitting down with a bunch of scribes and lawyers. Those are people that worked in the temple. And the temple is a place where Jewish people go to worship, just like we go to church. And they were trying to trick Jesus because they didn't like Jesus. And the reason they didn't like Jesus is because people started to follow Jesus instead of going to the temple. So they wanted to get him out of the way. So they asked him this very tricky question. They said, which of these is the greatest of all the commandments? Now, in the Bible, there are 10 commandments that we know about. And Jesus answered that you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And a second is like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments are based all the commandments. And what that means is that of the 10 commandments, the first 4 are about loving God, and the second 6 are about loving each other. Okay? And so the scribe thought he was a wise guy, and he didn't want to like anybody that he didn't have to like. So he says, well, then who's my neighbor? And Jesus said, I'm going to tell you a story. He called it a parable. And a parable is an earthly story with a heavenly meaning. Okay? And he told him this parable about this man that was walking from Jerusalem to Jericho. Remember Jericho? We talked about that last week, about the walls coming tumbling down. Right. He's walking there, and this is a dangerous road, and he was beat up by a bunch of robbers. And they robbed him. They took all his money and all his stuff. And they beat him up bloody, and they left him for dead. He's laying in the road, and along comes a priest, the one that works in the temple, like a pastor. And he sees this man. Does he stop to help him? Nope. He crosses over to the other side of the street, and he continues on his way. Now, the next person that comes along is a Levite. He works in the temple too. He sees him. Does he help him? Nope. He walks to the other side of the street. Now, we don't know why the priest and the Levite didn't help Jesus. It didn't help the poor man in the street because it's not in the Bible. But we can make a guess. Maybe they were in a rush. Maybe they had something else to do. Or maybe because he was bloody and they weren't allowed to touch him because they would become unclean and they couldn't do the work of the temple. But whatever the reason was, they didn't help him. Now along comes a Samaritan. Now a Samaritan is another kind of a Jewish person, but they don't get along with the other Jewish people. They have fighting for years and years and years and years. But this Samaritan, this person that the Jewish people really don't like, stopped to help him. And he cleaned his wounds. And then he put him on his donkey and he brought him to a place where he could be taken care of. And he told the innkeeper, he says, you take care of this man. And when I come back this way, if I owe you any more money, I'll give you the money. And he did. And so then Jesus said to him, said to the scribe that asked this question, then who then is your neighbor? And the scribe says, well, it would be the Samaritan. And he says, right you are. Not the answer that they wanted, but that's the right answer. Now, what does that mean? That means that a true neighbor is not somebody that just lives next door to you or somebody that you like, but a true neighbor, somebody that cares for you like Jesus cares for you. If Jesus came by, he certainly would have stopped and helped the man, right? Yeah. So a good neighbor is somebody that acts like Jesus. And so the question here is, are you a good neighbor? Do you help your friends when they need something? Or do you help anybody when they need something? Sometimes we don't, when you're young, you don't have a chance to go out and help people that are lying in the street, right? That's not something that you see every day. But sometimes you could write a nice note, or you could help somebody in school or somebody in church that you don't know, but that could use your help. So always try to be a good neighbor by helping those that need your help. That's the story. You like that one? I hope so. Amen. Have a great, great Drempin today, guys. I love you, and I'll see you soon. In fact, I'll see some of you in First Communion class coming up pretty soon. God bless everybody. Have a great day, and listen to your teachers, and always be a good neighbor. Bye-bye.